Goaltending has become a story for the first time in this series, and it has been the same story that we saw last year, which is that Stu is much better than Oettinger.
Let's begin with the Western Conference Final, because that's what we got today. It continued, and the Oilers go up 2-1, a 6-1 drubbing of the Dallas Stars. When we last spoke, I think we knew, but we couldn't say for sure. We knew that Stuart Skinner was in a good space and was going to be doing great. He'd allowed, I think, 5 goals the previous game, but we've been alive long enough to know that there was probably some good performances coming from Stuart Skinner. We see a shutout in Game 2. We see a 1-goal against performance in Game 3 that ends our favorite statistic of all time from the great NHL Sid, that in this postseason, Stuart Skinner either records a shutout or posts a save percentage under .834. That sadly is done now. He's kind of leveled off, and he just had a good game today, which sucks, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, like you kind of just want only the very, like the perfect or the horrible. And he gave us I would say that this was like probably his best game.
I think the Game 2 might have been his. Game 2 was, he wasn't under siege like he was today, but Game 2, I was pretty sure the whole game Dallas wasn't going to score a goal. There were long stretches in the second period of this game where I was like, score a fucking goal. We'll get to the guys for Dallas that are underperforming in a minute, but Mikko Rantanen, when you are looking Stu Skinner plain in the face and no one's within 3 feet of you, you've got space to just beat Stuart Skinner. And I'm not just saying that derogatorily towards Stuart Skinner. If you've got a good, clear shot against anybody from in close, Mikko Rantanen, you have to score there.
For sure. I like 2.09 goals saved above expected for Stu Skinner in this game. I'd be willing to bet that's probably the high watermark.
Has to. Yeah, I bet that would be higher than last
just because he's been tested more. My big thing about Dallas is get to Stu early. Like, test him earlier. They were great in the second period of this Game 3 and like for a little bit in the third, but like you're not doing anything against him in the first period. You've given up the first goal in 14 of 16 playoff games so far. For a guy like Stu, who can be got, especially early on in games, to shake his confidence, they're just letting him kind of get hot.
I agree with that. He has come out of every game this series. There's only been 3, but even in Game 1, like he's made huge saves that tell me he's not a puddle. And sometimes you just need to know that he's not a puddle, because when he's off, he is very off, and you could tell. But he's come up with huge saves in each game this series, and a lot of it is like by the late first period, I'm like, he's a big fat guy who is square to everything. That is hard to beat. It's when he's not square to everything, and it's when he's sliding all over the place and he's moving around too much. I think Petey said that with us. He was like, Skinner's a good goalie until you make him move a lot, and if you get him to move a lot, then you can beat him. He's in the middle of everything, and they keep trying to kind of, I think it was Vegas that would like pepper him in like the shoulder and try to get him to get uncomfortable and awkward.
Yeah, you were saying that like you thought they were intentionally shooting high to make him feel awkward and lose the puck.
Yeah, and he's a little more positionally sound, and he just kind of like readjusts. And I'm famous last words, and I was biting my tongue on a lot of stuff in Game 2 where I said, I know that he's not going to allow a goal this game, but I still waited till after the game to spike the football and be like, oh, you bitches, because even with 3 minutes left, it's just hockey. You never know what's going to happen. Coward move on my part? Yes, of course. I didn't think we were going to start with goalie stuff, but once I open the door, I feel like we got to be in there. Is it happening again, the Stu and Oettinger thing?
I mean, like too soon to tell. 3 games, but like goaltending has become a story for the first time in this series, and it has been the same story that we saw last year, which is that Stu is much better than Oettinger.
I don't think that Oettinger's been that bad. I think that Oettinger is playing against a team that has a million players scoring right now. Yeah. And Jake Oettinger faced a 3-on-1 today. And shout out Harley was very interested in that being a 3-on-1. He's like, this could be a 3-on-2. What happens if it's a 3-on-1? we can walk through a lot of the goals that Jake Oettinger has allowed, and it's the same story we were saying after game 1, where there's a combination of could have stopped and maybe like 1 or 2 should have stopped.
I mean, the Klingberg one was horrible, but the game was
out
already over.
At that point, it was just a bunch of people saying, fuck it, let's get out of here. I think it's happening again. And I don't think that Jake Oettinger has a Stuart Skinner thing, and I don't think Stu Skinner has a Jake Oettinger thing, but I know through 3 games, one goalie has been a lot better than the other, and one team has needed their goalie to be a lot better than he's been, and that's been the Dallas Stars. But that is in part due to the fact that Dallas doesn't have a lot of guys going right now. After the game, after this 6 goals against performance from Jake Oettinger, in which he allowed 3 the previous 2 games, so nothing terrible, but nothing amazing. Peter DeBoer was asked about Jake Oettinger.
Listen, I think, we wouldn't be sitting here in the conference finals without Jake Oettinger and how he's played. Tonight was one of those games where, they were opportunistic, and then once they got the lead, we're pushing to get back in, and there's grade A's the other way. So, one thing I know about Jake Oettinger, for me, is he's one of the best response goalies in the league, and I know he's not going to drag around tonight's game.
Okay, I know that you have to say that, but like Peter DeBoer's having a tough series at the mic, I would say. The response goalie thing, Pete and I were watching that before we went on, and like both of us kind of looked at each other, and I jumped over to Jake Ottinger's game logs, and like that's not true. I'm seeing like a lot of 4 goals against followed by 5 goals against and 5 goals against, or 5 goals against followed by 4 goals against, 4 goals against. And you can't blame everything on Cody Ceci, folks.
Maybe he's just he's putting the team in a position to bounce back. This is the first time all playoffs that the Dallas Stars have lost back-to-back playoff games.
This is the first time that they've I said this going into the series. I'm like, I don't think the Dallas Stars are playing as well as everyone thinks they are. It's very exciting that the Dallas Stars team that we had left for dead is winning games and is going back to the conference finals with an unbelievable roster. But the reason why I have my money on the Oilers, other than all this shit that you see on me, is that the Oilers were playing really well, and the Stars had 2 guys going, and if a 3rd guy was going, it was the goalie. But we've seen he can be got, just like Edmonton's goalie can be got, just like a lot of goalies can be got, which is why typically you don't want to go into the postseason with your big thing, Winnipeg, being, hey, we've got a good goalie. You need other things happening.
Yeah, the difference is when you get Stu Skinner, it's a disaster. And when you get Jake Oettinger, it doesn't look nearly as bad, which is like, that's fine, but it's just kind of the way that it is.
We all silly like the mayor.